All right, we are on chapter 6, and chapter 6 is called The Red Eye Flight. Pearl was in such a hurry to fly on a dragon that she forgot all about changing her clothes. Luckily, it was a balmy summer night, so her pajamas and leprechaun slippers were plenty warm. Salt shaker in hand, she opened the hatch that led to the roof. It was nearly impossible to see up there. The street lamps weren't working, and the moon was currently on the other side of the earth. "Hello?" Pearl whispered. "Where are you?" "Over here." A streak of orange light suddenly appeared, guiding the way. While dragon flame can burn a village and melt a bridge, it can also serve as a convenient torch. Pearl crossed the roof and joined Ben, who was also in a pair of pajamas and sneakers. His pajamas were yellow, and his sneakers hadn't been made by a leprechaun. Meadowmouth closed his mouth, extinguishing the flame, and Pearl's vision began to adjust. That was when she noticed the red saddle strapped to the dragon's back. "Did you really ride here on Meadowmouth?" Pearl asked. "It was amazing," Ben said in a hushed voice. "He tapped on my bedroom window. The cat went nuts." Did you tell your grandpa you were leaving?" "No, luckily he didn't wake up, but I left a note for him next to the box of donuts. He has one every morning, so he'll find the note for sure." Ben pointed to the salt shaker. "How's the fairy?" The creature was flying around, screaming again. It sounded as if Pearl had trapped a miniature storm. "She's not very happy," Pearl said with a frown. "I don't think she likes me." "Well, you did trap her." "Hey, you guys, we'd better go," Meadowmouth said. "Dr. Wu's waiting." "I can't believe this is happening," Pearl said with an excited giggle. Meadowmouth lay on his stomach and stretched out a wing so Pearl and Ben could climb easily onto his back. Pearl settled in front of the saddle. The seat was padded and quite comfortable. Ben sat behind her. "Just in case you're wondering, there aren't any helmets," Ben informed her. "Or seatbelts. I already asked." "You don't need that stuff," Meadowmouth said as he rose onto his paws. "No one's ever fallen off, except for that one time when Mr. Tabby fell into the lake." Gee whiz, he was mad. Cats sure hate water. As he spread his wings, a piece of roof tile tumbled to the sidewalk. Way down in the basement apartment, Wiener Dog barks arose. "Uh-oh. Sweetness and light will wake up the whole neighborhood," Pearl said. "We'd better get out of here." Meadowmouth perched on the edge of the roof and began flapping his wings. "Hold on super tight," Ben warned, his arms wrapped around Pearl's waist. "He flies really fast." With a sudden lurch, they rose into the sky. For a moment, Pearl forgot to breathe. She couldn't speak. She squeezed the salt shaker so tightly her hand began to ache. Meadowmouth flew up Main Street, then dipped her wing and banked to the right, carrying them over the company houses, where Grandpa Abe lived. Barnaby, Abe's black cat, stood on the front porch, his back arched when he spotted the huge scaled beast. A pair of raccoons darted behind a garbage can as the dragon shadow swept across driveways and lawns. Cold air stung Pearl's eyes, but she didn't care. A fairy in one hand, a dragon saddled in the other. What could be better? Perhaps a not-so-cranky fairy would make things a tad bit better, but Pearl wasn't going to fuss over details. She squealed with joy as Meadowmouth finished the 180-degree turn. "Hey, isn't that Victoria?" Ben said. While other Buttonville residents were snug in their beds, Victoria Mulberry stood in her backyard, gazing through a telescope, watching the night sky. "She's looking for dragons," Pearl realized. But before she could warn Meadowmouth, he flew straight over Victoria. The telescope toppled as Victoria screamed. Then she ran into her house, most likely to get a camera, or worse, her mother. Luckily, Meadowmouth headed toward the forest, dipping behind the treetops out of view. "We're going to need a real good cover story," Ben said. "Don't bother," Pearl hollered over her shoulder. With the wind in her ears, Pearl found it very difficult to hear. "Victoria already knows Meadowmouth is real. There's nothing we can say to change her mind." There they are, flying on Metalmouth. The dragon's red eyes glowed like headlights, illuminating a path through the darkness. Soon the towering old button factory came into view. The building looked eerie at night. All the windows were dark except Dr. Wu's hospital on the second floor. With a thud, they landed on the roof. Metalmouth galloped past a few chimneys, then skidded to a stop. "Wow, that was fun," Pearl exclaimed as she climbed off. "Can we do that every night? Can you take us up through the clouds like an airplane?" "Sure," Metalmouth said, "but clouds make me sneeze." "If we do it again, I think we should get helmets and maybe parachutes just in case." Ben swung his leg around and slid off the saddle. Goggles would be nice too. Pearl didn't think any of that safety stuff was necessary, but if she ever took a longer trip on Metalmouth's back, she'd recommend a saddle that reclined and a cup holder. Ahem. The sound of throat clearing drew their attention to the rooftop, where Mr. Tabby, dressed in his usually perfect ironed trousers, crisp dress shirt, and vest, was waiting. "Do not dawdle. We have important matters to discuss," he said, his voice as serious as ever. Metalmouth plucked his tennis ball from behind one of the scales. "Want to play a game of fetch when you get done?" "Sure," Ben said. "See you later." "Yeah, see ya," Pearl said. "Okie dokie." The dragon sat on his haunches and began to untie the saddle. Mr. Tabby's mustache twitched, and he sniffed the air as his apprentices approached. "Do I detect the sugary odor of a fairy?" "Yes," Pearl said, holding up the salt shaker. The fairy started pounding on the glass again. "Should I let her out?" "Under no circumstances are you to release her," Mr. Tabby said. "Not until Dr. Wu deems it safe. There is no knowing what mischief she might get into. Fairies are notorious troublemakers." "Troublemakers?" Pearl smiled. For a moment she cherished the discovery that she and the fairy had something in common. Almost everyone in Buttonville thought of Pearl as a troublemaker. But the fairy didn't have the same reaction. She stomped her foot and then began tearing up the toilet paper in a fit of rage. "She's mad at me because I kept her in the shaker all night," Pearl exclaimed. "I didn't know what else to do. We came to the hospital, but no one answered the door. Where were you? Did you go to the imaginary world? Did something happen? How come the fairy's in Buttonville? Did you know that she likes pancakes with syrup? Mr. Tabby raised a hand to shield himself from the questions, as if they were little spitwads shooting from a straw. "Enough," he said with a low growl. Now that Pearl knew he was a Benkenoki, a shape-shifting cat, she'd begun to notice more of his feline tendencies. Dr. Wu, Metalmouth, and I were not at the hospital because we were on a quest. That is all you need to know." His half-moon irises flashed. Then he held the rooftop door open and ushered the kids through. Let us not keep the doctor waiting. Chapter 7, A Fairy Bite.